Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'ina. Begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with some peace and blessings upon His noble Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, his family and companions, and those who follow them in righteousness until the last day. Our continuation in reading Jami At-Tirmithi, Introduction to Jami At-Tirmithi. About the author, he is Abu Isa ibn Sarh ibn Musa ibn Dahak As-Sulami Al-Darir Al-Bughi At-Tirmithi. He is also called As-Sulami due to his ancestors' allegiance to the tribe of Sulaim, a well-known branch of the families of Qais ibn Ghilan. As for At-Tirmithi, it is an ascription to a large city, Tirmidh, on the northern banks of the Amudari or Amu-Darya River in Tajikistan. His grandfather was from Maru in Turkmenistan, but he migrated or immigrated to Tirmidh, where Imam At-Tirmithi was born. His birth, studies, and travels. Scholars differ over which year he was born in. The dates vary between 200 and 209 Hijri. While he was young, he began learning in his own city and later traveled to learn from the scholars of various lands. Al-Mizzi said, he journeyed to the lands and heard from many personalities from Khurasan, Al-Iraq, Al-Hijaz, and other places. His teachers. At-Tirmithi heard from many of the most eminent people of knowledge of his time, some of those whom Bukhari himself heard from, as well as the other famous hadith compilers. He met and heard narrations from Muslim and Abu Dawood, and he stayed with Al-Bukhari, learning a wealth of knowledge and narrations from him. Thus, Al-Allama Abdul Aziz Ad-Dahlawi said, surely At-Tirmithi was Bukhari's successor. In his Sunan, At-Tirmithi mentioned much of what he learned from Al-Bukhari concerning narrators and benefits from the narrations. His books. He authored many books, the most famous of which are the following. First, Al-Jami'. It is this book, more commonly known as Sunan Tirmithi. Second, Al-Shama'il Al-Nabawiyya wal-Khasa'il Al-Mustafawiyya, more commonly known as Shama'il Al-Tirmithi. 3. Kitab Al-Ilal Al-Saghir, which is often printed at the end of Sunan At-Tirmithi. His death. At-Tirmithi died in Tirmidh, in the village of Bugh, according to As-Sam'ani, on the eve of Monday, the 13th night of Rajab, in the year 279 Hijri. May Allah have mercy upon his soul. About this book, Al-Hafidh Abu al-Fadl al-Maqdisi said, I heard Al-Imam Abu Ismail Abdullah ibn Muhammad al-Ansari in Hira or Harra, when Abu Isa At-Tirmithi in his book was mentioned before him, I heard him saying, to me, his book is better than the book of Al-Bukhari, and that of Muslim as well, because only one who is an expert in knowledge can arrive at the benefit of the books of Al-Bukhari and Muslim, whereas in the case of the book of Abu Isa, everyone of the people can reach its benefits. In Jami' al-Usul, Ibn Athir said, it is the best of the books, having the most benefit, the best organization, with the least repetition. It contains what others do not contain. Like mention of the different madhahibs, angles of argument, and clarifying the circumstances of the hadith being authentic, weak, gharib, ad, as well as disparaging and endorsing remarks regarding narrators. Similarly, more was said by Ibn al-Arabi in Arida al-Awdi, who listed 14 categories of benefits in this book. At-Tirmidhi's objective. Abu Isa At-Tirmithi rahimullah said, all of the ahadith that are in this book are acted upon and cited as proof by some of the people of knowledge, with the exception of two ahadith. The hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined Dhuhr and Asr prayer and Maghrib and Isha in Al-Madinah without being in a state of fear nor due to rain. And the second hadith of the Prophet is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam: whoever drinks wine, then lash him. If he returns to it, then on the fourth time kill him. I have clarified the deficiencies of both of these hadith in my book. The terminology used by At-Tirmithi. There are some terms that At-Tirmithi uses in his Sunan, which are either not very common or used by him in a manner that is not very common. And in the case of some terms, there's a difference of opinion among the scholars about their meanings. Some of these disagreements are very difficult to rectify. The meaning of Hasan and the meaning of Gharib according to At-Tirmithi. In Al-Ilal, his other book, he said, whatever it is that we mention in this book saying Al-Hasan or a Hasan hadith, we only meant that its chain is Hasan according to us. Every hadith that is related, that does not have in its chain someone who is accused of lying, nor is the hadith shadh. Shadh is a hadith which is narrated by a strong narrator, however, goes against the majority of strong narrators. He says, every hadith that is related that does not have in its chain someone who is accused of lying, nor is the hadith shadh, it has been related through other routes similar to that, then it is a Hasan hadith according to us. About whatever we say in this book, it is a Gharib hadith, then the people of hadith consider the hadith to be Gharib for various reasons. Sometimes a hadith is Gharib because it is not related except through one route, like the hadith of Hamad ibn Salama from Abu Ushara or Ushayra from his father, who said, I said, O Messenger of Allah, is there no slaughtering except upon the neck and the throat? He said, if you stab its thigh, it would be accepted from you. So Hamad ibn Salama was the only one who reported this hadith from Abu Ushara, and it is not known of Abu al-Ushara narrating from his father except this hadith, even though this hadith is popular with the people of knowledge. And Abu Isa said, sometimes a hadith is considered gharib due to an addition that is in the hadith, and it will only be correct when the addition is from one who is dependent upon for his memory. For example, what is narrated by Malik ibn Anas from Nafi' from Ibn Umar, who said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Zakatul Fitr during Ramadan is obligatory on every free person or slave, male or female, among the Muslims. A saw of dates, a saw of barley. He said, Malik added in his hadith, among the Muslims. Ayub as-Sakhtiyani, Ubaydullah ibn Umar, and more than one of the ulama or the a'imma, the imams, reported this hadith from Nafi' from Ibn Umar, and they did not mention among the Muslims in it. Some of them whose memories are not relied upon reported what is similar to the narration of Malik from Nafi'. More than one of the a'imma approved the narration of Malik and used it as a proof. Among them are Ash-Shafi'i and Ahmad ibn Hanbal. They said, when a man has slaves who are not Muslim, he does not have to give sadaqah al-fitr on their behalf, and they cited the narration of Malik as a proof. So when a Hafiz whose memory is relied upon narrates an addition, then that is accepted from him. Sometimes a hadith is related through many routes and many chains, and it is only considered gharib due to the condition of that particular chain. The meaning of Hasan Sahih. This is the statement that the scholars disagreed the most about. This hadith is Hasan Sahih. The most popular views about its meaning are one of or a combination of the following. One, it means that one of the chains of the hadith is Hasan and the other is Sahih. This is mentioned by Ibn Salah in his introduction to Al-Ulum Al-Hadith. Second, it means that Hasan Sahih means that the hadith is either Hasan or Sahih, as scholars would differ over what to call it. This was mentioned by Ibn al-Hajar in Nuzhat al-Nazar. Third, it is a grade above Hasan and below Sahih. This is the view of Ibn Kathir as mentioned in Ikhtisar Ulum al-Hadith. 4. Hasan Sahih, it means that it is Hasan by itself or Sahih due to other narrations. This is what was said by Abdur-Rauf al-Dahlawi in his introduction to his explanation of Mishkat. 5. Hasan Sahih, that means that they are two descriptions. Hasan describing it as good and Sahih describing it as a higher level of precision and its transmission due to the narrators. This is the view of Ibn Daqiq al-Eid in Al-Iqtira, Al-Dhahabi in Muqaddima Al-Mawqidha or Al-Muqidha, in An-Nuqat ala Ibn Salah. Ibn Hajar stated that this is the strongest view. Similarly, in his explanation of Tirmidhi's Al-Ilal, Ibn Rajab said, a hadith will only be Sahih Hasan when its chain is connected, uninterrupted, being narrated by trustworthy, just narrators, and is not shadh. And similar is related from other routes. As for Sahih by itself, then it is not a condition that a similar narration is related from other routes, but it also must not be shadh. So in this case, a Sahih al-Hasan is stronger than what is merely Sahih. 6. In the introduction to Tuhfat al-Ahwadi, which is the explanation of Sunan Tirmidhi by Imam Mubarak-Furi, he said, there occurred to me two other views. One of them, that the meaning is Hasan by itself, Sahih due to other narrations, and the other that the meaning is Hasan in rank and its chain is correct, Sahih, meaning that it is the most correct thing mentioned on this topic. So if it is said the most correct of what is mentioned about this, if it is said the most correct of what is mentioned about this, even if it is Hasan or weak, then it refers to the predominance of or lack of weakness. There are other views stated by, going back to point 6, in the introduction of Tuhfat al-Ahwadi, the explanation of Sunan al-Tirmidhi by Imam Mubarak-Furi, he said, there occurred to me two other views. One of them, that the meaning is Hasan by itself, Sahih due to other narrations, and the other, that the meaning is Hasan in rank, and its chain is correct, Sahih, meaning that it is the most correct thing mentioned on this topic. So if it is said the most correct of what is mentioned about this, even if it is hasan or weak, then it refers to the preponderance of or lack of weakness. There are other views stated by the scholars that are in many ways similar to one of these. Additionally, one will find that At-Tirmithi utilizes various combinations of all of these terms, calling a narration Hasan, Gharib, Sahih, Sahih, Gharib, Gharib, Hasan, Sahih, Hasan, as well as other combinations. The meaning of Jayyid. At-Tirmithi also mentioned the term Jayyid for some narrations, Jayyid, Gharib, Hasan, Hasan, Jayyid, Gharib, Jayyid, Gharib. In most cases, the usage of the term Jayyid or its derivations to grade a narration means one of three things. One, when it is used to describe how one of the narrators narrated it, then the narration is safe from tadlis. 2, that it is a hadith grade, meaning that it is better than Hasan but not as good as Sahih. 3, that a narrator or narrators in the chain were generous in the manner that they narrated it, meaning that they did a very good job in their narration. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه